You were at the Eastern Conference Finals games in Indiana watching your Pacers reach their second NBA Finals in franchise history. When you look at this squad, what makes this Pacers team so special?
Man, got to be the depth. Man, they do it by the numbers, man. They truly do it by the numbers. And, I watched them on television and actually being there in person, man, to see the way they move that ball. Obviously, Tyrese Haliburton is the motor that make the machine go. And when he's super engaged and he's downhill, he creates so many opportunities. But also on the flip side of that depth, they defend too, right? They defend really well. And I like what they got going on. Obviously, Rick Carlisle's a hell of a coach. He's almost a genius in that huddle, man. I've been on that side of the table with him as well. But I think they have more of a chance than people are saying, right? Obviously, OKC has had a hell of a year, and hell in many ways, record years in their point differential. But overall, I think what the rhythm that the Pacers have right now, man, they have a chance of winning it all.
So Kenyon talks a lot about just the atmosphere at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and if you're not used to it, you're not experienced with it, it can be very overwhelming. How intense is the crowd there at Gainbridge for teams that come in and have to play against the Pacers at home?
Man, what's crazy? I almost forgot how intense it was. Obviously, I hadn't been there in a while, man, and been in that environment, man. I was sweating. I was like, I was about to get ready to go in the game, man. Those people love the Pacers there, and it's a hard hat town that love their sports, and the belief is that basketball started there, which in many ways it did, but they support their team, and obviously they have a young, exciting team now that they're really happy about. So they're gonna be really energized come Game 3.
Man, some people don't believe in Indiana on this couch,
Yeah, I believe it. Huh?
Who don't believe in it?
I mean, there's only one Indiana player I believed in, and that was you. You already know that. No, because my second All-Star when I got snubbed, he got hurt, and that's how I made it. So, I always cherish that moment. I mean, he got hurt, but. I got that. So that's my guy right there. Yeah, that's my guy right there because of it. I always tell him that. That's my guy, man. You're the savior, dog.
Hey, dog, we tied together for the rest of our life.
For the rest of our lives. So I'm with you. I think they can win one game. I do.
Wow. Damn, one game?
Yeah, I got one game.
This boy crazy.
Because what you guys are good at is where they're excellent at on defense, right? And because they do play big and their bigs are bigs, right? It's going to be hard for Miles to play inside out against this team. And since they switch everything very aggressive, if Hallie does what Hallie does and you got, let's say, 6 games, 3 of those games, it seems like he's disinterested offensively. And if he plays that style against them, it will show, right? If we get the Hallie that's trying to get a triple-double, now we're talking about different series. Right. But it seems like he really goes in a game sometimes thinking, I want to be a pure point guard, and I want to get 10, 15 assists. And whenever he's at his best, it's when he's offensively engaged, coming downhill, trying to score, which opens up the passing lane. And usually he's only doing that 3 out of 6 games.
Well, I'll tell you this. On the Miles Turner deal, Hellcat was a load, right? And so I don't think that OKC has somebody like Karl Anthony Towns, right? I mean,
sure.
He was tough to deal with off the dribble, behind the 3-point line. You had to honor any fake that he gave, and he was physical. I don't think Chet Holmgren presents that same level of problem. So I think that matchup will be a lot better for Miles Turner. Now, I would agree with you from a perspective of Haliburton when it comes to, when he wants to take over a game and when he wants to be second or third dairy. The thing with him is, being at that game is watching him. He's a basketball savant, and you can see his eyes, like he's always viewing the floor. And I believe sometimes he believes if he sets the table for his teammates first, they're going to be in a better situation. And in some cases, that is the truth. But it won't be that case against OKC because obviously we know I think they had an NBA record all time. And in margin of points differential this year, in their win. So OKC doesn't allow you. I agree, they don't allow you to be passive because they'll go up by 30 quickly. But I don't think we're going to see that same Tyrese Haliburton because he understood what that got him. In this previous series, I think it was Game 5 in New York, where he wasn't very aggressive at all. But expect to see a better version of him, a even more intense version of him, come game one of the NBA Finals.
Yeah. OKC good in the half court. Defensively, absolutely. Pacers play fast, man. They're not gonna give them guys a chance to be setting that defense up every possession. Like they getting that ball out, man. He looking up the floor, they running. So that's the beauty of not having to play against that set defense every time. Like I said, Joe, I told the guys the other day, Joe, the Indiana team reminds me a lot of my Nets teams that made it to the finals. Like they remind me a lot of those teams, right? We play fast, we defend. On any given night, somebody could have a big night scoring, but J. Kidd was going to be the staple, always like Hallie. And on any given night, Kerry could go for 30, RJ could go for 30, I could give you that. It just didn't matter. So you couldn't lock in on that. But we were going to play fast, and we were going to defend you no matter what.
That's hard to stop, man.
So I think that's the style of play that they've adapted to and that they are doing now, which I think is going to be challenging for OKC. I ain't saying it's going to get them to the top, but I think it's going to be challenging for them.
Man, I would agree, man. They are almost identical to what the style of play that you guys had. The thing that I do like about, and I would agree with you on that, anybody can hurt you on any given night. That's a big thing, man. Nobody knew that. I think it was T. Bryant that hit those three threes and that bust the game open in Game 6.
Game 6, yep.
Yeah, nobody knew he was going to do that. I mean, but that goes to show you how they believe in each other. I will say this too, that I don't want people to underestimate this. And them boys picking up full court like it's college.
Hey, listen. That is a thing, man, that's a thing because they're trying to speed the game up so much. And just like you guys, even when the other team scores, it's like they're trying to score again. And I think if OKC can try to figure out
They force you to play
how not to give up fast points. Like, you can't be worked all the way down the fucking court the whole goddamn, you sitting here bouncing, trying to get through the goddamn press, and then they come down there and score 2 points. Eventually that winner, and you be like, God damn.
Or it forces you to try to play that way.
Yeah.
Or it forces you to play faster than you want to play.
Yeah.
Right? It forces you, now you got, oh shit, they scored, we got to score. So now you're into this game
that's their game,
they've
not
been
yours.
playing all fucking year long, right?
But they had, 58 plus fast break points?
Yeah, I think plus 58.
Is that a record?
Shane got picked up full court.
Also dominated bench
But
points.
it's multiple guys, though. They throwing multiple guys at you picking up your full court. It
That's
ain't
what I'm
just
saying.
one
He
guy
ain't
like
dealt with that.
I'm saying they got Dort that does that for OKC.
Yeah.
They got T.J. McConnell, Nimhard,
what
Shepard,
I'm saying.
the other shooter kid, Naismith. These guys picking you up full court,
Full
right?
court.
So they just gonna throw multiple guys at him and try to wear him out and make him get off the ball.
Have to have Dort bring that motherfucker.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what
I think y'all
I
got a
didn't.
chance, brother.
Man, listen, we got more than a chance. I'm
think
trying to
y'all-
tell you.
real shot. Y'all got a real shot.
Y'all got a chance to win the game.
Yeah, that's what you have.
Listen, bro.
Games,
No,
Listen,
not multiple.
I didn't even realize Pascal Siakam was even that damn fast until the past game. He was,
That motherfucker get out.
bruh, he was like a deer.
Yeah.
I mean, if they play at that, it reminds me a lot of when the Phoenix Suns, right, when they had Steve Nash. They just wore you down on just the offensive side, the fast break side. They got the ball out fast, and you had to sprint back. So imagine having to sprint back every single time. That should have some sort of impact on your efficiency when they get the ball back. When you go down on the offensive side, you might be a little bit tired. So them 3 balls may not be falling because your legs are tired.
All right, man. I give y'all like. It could go to game. It could go to game.
But
6.
OKC got balance.
It could go to game 6, man. But
They both got balance.
So, J.O., let's talk a little bit about Tyrese Haliburton. He was voted as the most overrated player in the league by some anonymous players, as proceeded to start cooking since doing that. A lot of people thought he should have been the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, even though not disappointed to see Siakam do it based on everything he did. But how impressed are you with Haliburton's emergence in these playoffs, and really these last 2 playoffs?
And it's crazy, like the overrated thing is kind of crazy to me, man. I think a lot of it is, man, to be a superstar in our league, man, like you have to learn that process. And I think, what he's been doing is, again, he's a basketball savant and he's a pass first point guard. trying to learn how to take over games, you have to give him a little bit of grace when it comes to that. I think from a perspective, now he's getting it. He's starting to understand it, and he's been impressive, throughout this process, of the playoffs, where he's making big shots, game-winning shots. He's having bounce-back games, and he's staying consistent. So I'm not really surprised. Obviously, I watched the Pacers play. He's been doing a lot of that stuff all year. I think the biggest issue that he had with this overrated thing was, hey, I'm going to go for 30 this game, and then I'm going to come back, and I got 12 or 10 or 9 or whatever it is the next game. And I think people don't really know how to evaluate that when they see that. They look at it as inconsistency, and in many ways, he's trying to be the best version of himself. A lot like Jay Kidd, though, came with what you said. Jay Kidd can hurt you in many ways, but if he sets that table, his team is that much better when he's setting the table.
Yeah, being aggressive, putting pressure on the rim, and then everything else comes easy.
I think I can see what he's saying and why somebody would say overrated, because the scoring part of it is inconsistent.
Yeah.
But that's just how he plays. It's no different than you got to treat him like the Magic, the Stockton, all of them, where they're not trying to score 30 every night. So you can't compare him to Shai. You can't compare him to Luka in a Brunson style where their points is sitting here, right? You just got to look at the totality of how they play the game and judge it game to game.
The impact that he's having on each individual.
Yeah. Even though I have 10 today, I got 14 assists.
But I have no turnover.
Yeah, I
right?
got no turnover.
So it's that shit, right? It's the things that
we don't care about that for the most part.
average fan don't know to look at, right? 15 and no turnovers, 14 and 3 turnovers, 15 and 2. Those matter. Those are extra possessions that we get that we're not giving it to the other team. So those things matter when we're talking about winning basketball.
Yeah.
But I guess it always depends on who's evaluating it, ain't it?
Yeah,
if you bust my ass, you overrated. So, that's how players do it. You know what I mean? You talk a lot of shit, you overrated. You know that's really how this game goes. You can't give the players shit to vote.
Hey, J.O., speaking of playoffs, right, I think we were the